Hi, this is Alison Burke from Count on Me Accountants. I'm here again just to talk a little bit more about another subject that's of interest to a lot of business owners, and that's running a payroll. This is only a quick introduction. I'm not drilling down into any detail here today at all because it's a big subject. This is just some thoughts to get you started if you're going to, or if you already are, running a payroll for your business. So, how do we go ahead? Before you run a payroll, you have to register that with HMRC. You can do this online through your government gateway account, which you probably already have. If you haven't, you can do that online as well. HMRC will ask for quite a bit of information, but it's the usual things: the full name of the company, the start date of the payroll, the number of employees, things like that. And then HMRC will provide you, in the fullness of time, with two very important pieces of information. That will be your employer pay-as-you-earn reference and your accounts office reference. You will need both of those things to go forward with this. Once you've got that information from the HMRC, you can then begin to think about the software that you will need to run the payroll. Again, HMRC have a list of approved software providers. Do take the time to check that, because you don't want to spend money on something that doesn't really work very well. There's a lot of software providers out there. Some are more expensive than others, so just have a shop around. Don't necessarily go for the cheapest, because some of the more expensive ones do make it a bit easier for you. So once you've got your HMRC reference numbers, you've got your software set up, the next thing is to set up a pension scheme. Every company who employs people must run a pension scheme, even if your employees who you currently have choose to opt out of paying into a pension, which they can do. Even so, one must be in place, and there are various companies that run this. Again, HMRC have a list of approved pension companies. Do check that out. There's about half a dozen on that list, and it's worth sticking with the ones they suggest. To run a payroll, I've listed a few things here that come to mind, but it's not everything. Once again, just let me reiterate, this is just a quick look at running a payroll. It's not drilling down into all the detail. So the first job would be to calculate each employee's gross pay. That might vary from month to month, or it might be consistent. Perhaps it's, a monthly salary, in which case it probably won't change very often. But if it's based on the number of hours that people work, then that, task will have to be done. Calculate the number of hours and multiply it by their hourly rate. And of course here you'd have to think of any bonuses or commission payments, that kind of thing, that vary from month to month. What needs to happen then is the employee pays tax and national insurance, and it would be your job to deduct that from their gross pay before you pay them. You would then have to deduct the employee's pension contributions if they've opted into the pension scheme. You would then have to calculate the employer's national insurance contribution. That's correct. Two people pay national insurance when you employ somebody. The employee themselves and you as their employer pay national insurance for them as well. You then calculate the employer's pension contribution, because once again, two people pay the pension, the employee and the employer. You would then have to submit a summary of all that to HMRC each month. Usually the software can tie in with your government gateway account to make that happen. You would then have to submit the summary to the pension company each month. That varies from company to company, but usually it can be tied in electronically. Then you would have to pay the employees their wages, naturally. You would have to pay HMRC and the pension company. Let me just talk about HMRC for a minute there. HMRC would be receiving the tax and national insurance that was deducted from the employee's wages, plus the national insurance contribution that the employer would need to pay. And then the pension company, once again, would be paid the employee's pension contribution and the employer's pension contribution. Okay. Count on Me Accountant. Many businesses that run a payroll contract this work out, and perhaps you can see why. There is a lot to think about, and if you're a busy business owner, you perhaps don't want to take the time to learn how to do all this and then to run it every month. So we would be very happy to help. I'm going to put my contact details on the next slide. It's usually quite a modest amount of money that accountants and bookkeepers charge to do payroll. It's not overly expensive, because once we're set up to do a lot, you can imagine we can make it a lot cheaper. So do get in touch with us. There's the telephone number and the email address. So that's accounts@countonmeaccountant.co.uk, and there's the phone number 07921 844 631. Do give me a call or get in touch by email. We can have a chat about it. You won't be committed to anything, but I think you'll find it will make your life much easier if you contract out the payroll. Okay, that's it. Thanks very much for your time. Take care. Have a good day. Bye now.